Welcome to this edition of Morgan You Asked For podcast. A little bit earlier here, early evening on Tuesday, the 21st. As if you listen to the podcast, you know Trevor's out the next couple weeks with work. So we called the bullpen, and Zach Tremmel graciously answered as he usually does. Welcome, Zach. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on.
All right. For this week, we're going to kind of leave the NFL alone. We'll kind of, we might get back to that next week, but with Trevor gone, that's kind of his wheelhouse. Zach and I are going to mainly focus on college football, the coaching openings and the potential coaching openings. And then if you want to talk, Zach, those of you who listen to the podcast for a long time, Zach is real good in the high school sports aspect, and we can touch that a little bit as well if you'd like, Zach.
Yeah, sounds good.
First thing, let's just talk Iowa and Penn State. I went to the game. I actually went over to Iowa City with you. You did not go to the game, but I went to the game. Great time, stripe out. They pulled it off. Kinnick is really good, but there were some things that I think Iowa State, as a Cyclone fan, now I'm biased, but Iowa State has very much so closed the gap on game day experience compared to the last time I was at Kinnick, which was a long time ago, and Iowa State's made a lot of changes. So the difference in game day atmosphere is not as big as it once was.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Obviously, your ADs put a lot of money into Jack Trice, and, it's more of a where all the campers are together. I was spread out, but both sides have their perks, and I enjoy my time in Ames, but I've only, like I said, only ever been there when they played the Hawkeyes, so I really can't judge outside of that. But I love a good Saturday in Iowa City, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was a good time. Thanks for inviting us. Had a good time. See our old friend Kevin Prevost. Always enjoys seeing him and Angela. It's amazing. We all have, they have a daughter that's in college, another one that's a senior. You have one that's a junior. I have a daughter that's a senior. Back in the early 2000s in Eddyville, that was a long ways off.
Yeah, we've gotten a little older since then.
No, always good to see them and thank them for helping us out. Let's get to coaching, and then we'll talk the actual games. I kind of know your thoughts and everything, but Penn State and Florida are open. Those are the two big jobs. Florida State and Wisconsin. I just don't know how they aren't open before the end of the year or at the end of the year. And then, some other, big four jobs or power four jobs, UCLA, Virginia Tech. I think that might be the power four jobs.
You got Oklahoma State, which yeah. I actually thought when kind of Texas and Oklahoma left that they might, take over as the power in the Big 12, and they have just went the exact opposite as what I thought.
They haven't won a Big 12 game.
Yeah, it's crazy because they were right there, knocking on the door with Oklahoma for a long time there. They would beat them, and I don't know what happened there, but I think that's still could be a decent job. You just never know anymore with this day and age.
Yeah, and the one thing with Wisconsin, let's go to the Wisconsin. They've got beat 37-0, 34-0 the last 2 weeks by Iowa and Ohio State. And Fickell looked to be a great hire. It just has not worked out. I'm amazed that he is not fired yet. And that goes to show you the differences in the top money of the Big Ten, Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, probably USC and Oregon in that little five group. And then the next group, or maybe even the group after that. I think Wisconsin's having a hard time justifying $21 million to fire Fickell. I think that's what I saw. Then you're going to have to pay, $50 million to hire a new coach. And so you're talking, and then now you got to start paying the $21 million. You're talking $100 million you got to come up with that some schools just are unwilling to do. And Wisconsin might be one. And then also looking at the potential job openings, who are you going to get at Wisconsin that's better in the immediate future, or do you wait another year? Hopefully it gets a little bit better, and then all the money goes down a little bit just with another year.
Yeah, I mean, and I believe they go to Oregon this week, so you're looking at probably a 50-point beat down this week as well. And I just don't know how long you can hold on, though, when your fans – it's kind of like how Iowa basketball was at the end, and I feel like Iowa basketball might even been a little more successful than what we're seeing with Wisconsin right now on the football side. So I don't know. I mean, would James Franklin go there? Because I think that would be an instant upgraded hire, but I mean, he could be in the mix for a bigger job as well.
I think Florida's going to be interested in him.
Yeah, he didn't. He definitely, I thought, helped himself with his game day appearance on Saturday. He, answered all the right questions. Sounded like he's business as usual, and they're gonna get the national championship somewhere else. I thought his interview was class act and spot on.
Yeah, and he's really good at that. I still really want to know. I just don't see how they fired him just because of those 3 losses.
Yeah.
There has to be something behind the scenes that he made the wrong booster mad, or maybe the booster just said he's done. He can't win the big one and he's done. But there has to be something behind the scenes that made it go that fast. And until I'm proven wrong, I will always believe that.
Yeah, I did not think he deserved to lose his job. I mean, he's won Rose Bowls, Fiesta Bowls, was a 2-minute drive from the national championship. And heck, they were in overtime against Oregon, or they'd be the number 1 team in the country. And who knows if they're going to lose at UCLA. But I did read a little thing that Urban Meyer said they have to know who they're going to hire already if you fire him like that.
Right.
I don't know if that's true or false, but I don't know who that is that's just going to come in and be this amazing name unless it's Nick Saban, Urban Meyer. But I just don't see that happening.
Right. And that's who we talked about last week. Trevor and I did, and I know you listen, and I do appreciate that. But I just don't see those 2 guys going there. And unless you've got it like almost in place that a Marcus Freeman goes there, that would be like the one guy that maybe.
Yeah, but is Penn State a better job than Notre Dame? I mean, I don't know that. I wouldn't leave Notre Dame for Penn State, but I don't know. Yeah, and Marcus Freeman's solid, but I couldn't sit here and say he's a better coach than James Franklin. I mean, I think they're on par with each other.
Right. Yeah, and Marcus Freeman's coming off a national championship game, and they've got 2 losses, but with their big win against USC, I believe they're going to be a huge favorite in the rest of the games, and if they're 10-2, they're going to the playoff.
Yeah, they're a lock, and that's the beauty of that job. As long as they don't force them to go into a conference, they basically have they can lose 2 games a year and they're going to get in just off their name.
Yep. Yeah, and Penn State has that name too. If Penn State is 10-2, they're in the playoff. Whether you win the conference, you're in the conference championship. It does not matter. If they are 10-2, they're in the playoff too. Michigan, Ohio State,
Yep, I would agree with that as well. I mean, I just don't know.
I would say Iowa's in the playoff if they're 10-2, 9 out of 10. I wouldn't say they're 100%, because if you go a 10-2 Iowa versus a 10-2 Notre Dame, and that's kind of your last 2 teams, they're going to take Notre Dame every time. But that would be your only argument. Now you get Michigan, Notre Dame. Now you're going to have an argument at 10-2, or an Ohio State, Notre Dame. I'd love to see the committee make that choice.
Yeah, that's, as an Iowa fan, obviously I'm looking down the road saying, all right, if we happen to run the table, which there's a lot that I was really pulling for USC last Saturday,
right?
Because if that would make Notre Dame 9-3, and if we'd have a win over USC, we're not going to jump Notre Dame if we're both 10-2. There's just no way. So, yeah, they have that brand name for sure, and Iowa won't be able to get ahead of them.
Yeah, and then, so let's just say Franklin goes to Florida, or is there any? I mean, there's no way Florida would hire like a Brian Kelly, would they? Because that's another job that I'm not going to say it's going to come open because he gets fired, but there might be a little nudge, and he's squirrely enough to just leave before they actually fire him. Could he weasel his way into a Florida State as another one that's probably going to get open he weasel his way into Florida State or Florida.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. If that LSU job,
LSU might be the best job in the country.
yeah, I
I
was
mean
going to say that jumps right to the top right away. And yeah, I don't know if Brian. I mean, he seems to be a decent coach. I don't know. I mean, you hear Lane Kiffin's name a lot, but I just feel like he's going to stay put. I think he has screwed up too many times when he's left. I know his kids love it there, and I don't know. I could be way off on that, but I don't see him leaving Ole Miss. I mean, he's turned it into as good a job as any in the country. Why leave?
right. And just like Cincinnati did at Indiana, well, you just keep getting a huge raise. And I mean, you
Yeah.
can live in Oxford, Mississippi for $7 million a year or $10 million a year pretty darn well. And you don't have to win a national championship every year to have the fan base, if he loses 3 games like that, he's not getting fired like James Franklin.
No, and he's built up. The fans love him in Oxford, and I think he's got a good thing going. And I'm kind of rooting for him again. There was a time that I liked him, then I kind of wasn't real happy with him, and I've kind of went back towards him again. I mean, he's younger our age, and I just feel like he's one of the up and coming coaches.
He just got too much too early because of his name. He was the head coach at the Raiders at like 30 years old, and parlayed that to go back to Tennessee and USC, and he was just too young for all that. I mean, and I think him going to Florida Atlantic, and then obviously working for Saban was really good for him because he got his butt chewed probably for about the first time in his life.
Yeah, I agree, and it's just. I mean, I don't think we're done seeing the coaches being fired. Just the way
No,
with what Cinetti's done in Indiana, this is just it's going to cause everybody. I mean, you see Texas lose 2 more times, he's going to be on the hot seat real fast too, and that all of a sudden turns into maybe the best job in the country. So it's just a constant. It's going to be a constant cycle.
And as I said, I'm not so worried about the jobs that are open right now for Matt Campbell. I might be worried about the guy that leaves for that job. That's the next, because I'm with you. I don't think unless 5 or 6 guys turn down Penn State, I don't know if Matt Campbell can get that job.
Yeah, I mean that would be the one I think would maybe leave if he was offered, but
right.
Like you talked, maybe Nebraska comes open if he looks at that, but you look at it, the last 10 years, is Nebraska even a better job than Iowa State? I mean, the resources are there, but I don't know. He's got he's kind of, he's got a place that he loves and he's winning at. And I get it. The Big Ten's probably going to have 4 spots locked in every year, but the way it is right now, the Big 12's not quite as good. So I think you got a shot at legitimately getting through there and maybe winning the Big 12. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, with what happened last week in the Big 12, Iowa State jumped from probably about 1% of getting to the championship game to about 20% now. If you obviously you have to run the table, but the odds jumped a lot higher with a couple teams losing.
Yeah, and there'll be more losses. I mean, there's some. Yeah. I mean, I don't see BYU running the table by any. Obviously, Iowa State isn't a must-win this week, or it is over for them. But I think they have a pretty good shot this week.
Yeah, they're. I know in our chat, guys were giving me a little crap, but if you listen to any person that bets regularly, this is an auto play Iowa State, just like it was an auto play Colorado and it was an auto play Cincinnati. The last 2 times Iowa State played the ranked team on the road that's an underdog. They're begging you to take the ranked team.
Mm-hmm. I really like Iowa State in this spot. I think they could get them by double digits, to be honest.
I hope so. It'll be a good game. I mean, obviously, I'm going to go. We'll be there. I have not been to Jack Trice Stadium since the Iowa State game. How about that?
How many home games have you missed? 1 or 2?
One.
Oh, geez. That seems like 2 months ago.
Well, we've had 2 byes, and then we were at Arkansas State, at Colorado, and at Cincinnati. So it's like 6 weeks. And then I missed it. I missed a game right in the middle of it.
I would think. I mean, is it sold out?
Yeah. Yep,
Yeah, I would think it should be a rocking atmosphere there.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. It might be homecoming. I don't know that for sure.
It is homecoming. I know that because my niece told me that.
Yeah. So that's one thing that I've never gotten a big deal about. I don't know. It is what it is. It doesn't change. I don't go back and go walk through my old college buildings or anything else like that. I don't care that much, I guess.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's not like, I don't know. I feel like high school homecoming's a little different than college, but I also didn't go to Iowa or Iowa State, so I'm probably not the best judge of talent on returning for homecoming in college.
Yeah, I mean, and I know you're a little closer to home, but even I've never been back to Adair Casey for a homecoming.
Yeah, I
I
haven't
mean,
either.
I was coaching and involved in football for 20 years after I graduated high school, so it just wasn't in the cards. And now it's just I'm not going back. I mean, I probably should. They're one of the best teams in the state, but
I think our homecomings are more at the schools that we teach now. Those are
right,
the
yep.
homecomings that we deal with.
And I teach at the elementary, so that the only thing we really do is the dress up days. I mean, we don't.
Yeah.
You're at the high school and the middle school where you do your events and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So if you had to make a guess at who do you think is going to be the Penn State head coach? I have no idea.
I mean, if I had to bet on it, I would pick Matt Rule just because of that connection there. And I feel like him and the AD are tight, but
Yep.
I don't know if it's not him. I mean, I couldn't even throw names out if, Saban and Urban Meyer are not even in the mix.
Now do those guys make the call? Does Penn State call those two and offer them the job? I guarantee they call them, but it might be on for former coaches of theirs, like a Lane Kiffin. I think you got to call Lane Kiffin if you're Penn State.
For sure.
But you call Nick Saban first to ask him if he wants the job, and then two, all right, of your assistants that would be maybe, hey, we're looking at these 5 guys. Who do you think? And you do that same thing with Urban Meyer. We think these 5 guys. Who do you think? I mean, that's just the AD doing a good job and doing their due diligence, because Urban Meyer and Nick Saban are the 2 best college football coaches in the last 2 generations.
Yeah, I mean, I think they got to be your call off. I mean, I would see if they're interested. That's
Right.
for sure. And then if you're not, yeah, pick their mind a little bit. I mean, I don't know who they're. I'm sure Lane Kiffin's going to be thrown out for sure. I mean, isn't Matt Campbell has some connections with Urban Meyer too?
Urban Meyer hired him at Toledo, but I think he got the head coaching job, so he didn't leave.
So I knew there was something there.
Because
So I'm sure
Tim Beckman, who was the head coach at Toledo, took the Illinois job, and so obviously they're all essentially looking for a job, going to Illinois with him, or you don't know who's going to get the head job. So I think Campbell was going to go to Ohio State, which probably would have been a good move for him, but when you get offered the head job, that's hard to turn down.
Oh, for sure.
And it worked out for him. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't other names that are just out there like Pat Fitzgerald. I think he could land somewhere. I don't think he's got quite the name to go to.
Could he be a Wisconsin guy? I think he could. I mean, I think he would actually do really well.
Oh yeah, I mean, Wisconsin, Stanford. I mean, they're kind of like Northwestern.
Yep.
I think he's going to definitely get a second crack at it for sure.
Well, and it was I mean, essentially proven that he didn't know.
Yeah, they made a statement that they didn't. So
right, like now there's an argument to be made that he should have known. You're running the program, but
for sure. And obviously when Trevor's on here, he likes to talk. He thinks John Gruden's going to be coaching somewhere next year. So I don't know where that's going to be, if it's in college or maybe Arkansas or something like that. I don't know for sure.
I mean, you look at Arkansas's got unlimited money. They got Calipari for basketball, so the money's there. Calipari's not going there if it's not a guaranteed big money for him and big money for his players. I mean, that's just the reality of it.
Yeah. Dan Mullins at UNLV could go somewhere. He's obviously can coach. He's wins everywhere he goes.
Yeah, he is still getting paid by Florida, by the way. I heard that today. So
I did
Florida's
hear
going to be
that.
paying. Florida's going to be like Kansas, or going to be like Notre Dame, where they're going to be paying 3 or 4 coaches here real soon.
Yeah. And I guess when do you think Penn State makes this hire?
See, that's the thing, is it depends who it is. Obviously, if it's Urban Meyer or Nick Saban, you can name it any time. I mean, technically,
Oh yeah.
I mean, they could probably start coaching them next week. I mean, if they really wanted to. I don't think they would. I think they would want to just go recruit and get ready for next year. But I think probably technically they could go coach them.
I mean, I would think this would be hired here within the next month, though. I mean, you want to get it in place, I would think, but
I
unless
mean,
they're waiting for. But if you sit there and wait for Lane Kiffin, who could make the national championship, I mean, you may not be able to
right.
hire him till February.
Yeah. Does it, Matt Rule, they're not going I mean, most likely not going to the playoffs, not going to the Big Ten championship game. Does he do a Bobby Petrino and just leave during the season? I don't know.
Yeah,
That's really hard to do. I don't care. He may want that job, and you can agree to it in principle. But you want to announce it, but I just don't think you can announce it till Nebraska season's over, or at least till the regular season's over.
And I mean, I get it. If he loses like 3 in a row here, then all of a sudden he doesn't look like a great hire anymore either.
Right.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, you even want to hire him. So if he keeps winning, it looks like a good hire, but then you're waiting. And I don't know. It's a tricky spot to just can a coach that early, especially. I mean, even the Florida coach, he gets fired after a win. It's like,
Yeah.
man, I don't get it, but they must have a plan in place, or they've got some boosters that are highly influential, and I'd probably lean that way, where they're like, he goes now or our money goes.
Right. It's one of those, I'm willing to write this check today, but if he's still the coach in a week, that check is not involved, or it's not near as big, one or the other.
For
I mean,
sure.
that has to be I think that's what's happening at Penn State too. There's rumors there that was Adidas money. Adidas did not want James Franklin. So, I mean, those
It'll
are the
be
people.
interesting.
Those are the people that pay the bills, and so I guess the AD and the administration has to follow their lead.
Yeah, and then these coaches, they get hired here. Then 20 new coaches in 3 years. I'd say 70% of them are fired again.
Well, that's what who was I might have been Travis and Ross.
Yeah,
There's
they were
11
talking.
coaches, openings right now. They said in 4 years how many of them are still there, and I think Ross said like only a quarter of them are still at their job in 4 years, and that's probably true.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if it's more than 5.
Yeah. So I mean, it's craziness, but and you can make the argument of why do they get paid so much, but that's why, is because you can get fired in the turn of a hat, and then all of a sudden you're out. So you make $100,000 a year. That doesn't work that way. So
For sure.
All right, now let's talk more games and kind of future schedules and how it looks. Let's go Iowa in the Big Ten first. Big win, not pretty, but Penn State was a better football team Saturday against Iowa than they had been, well, since the Oregon game. I mean, I think they played well against Oregon. They just got beat, and that's okay. There's nothing. Oregon's really good. Oregon can win the national championship.
Yeah,
For whatever reason, they had stopped listening to Franklin or his message. He quit on them or they quit on him. I don't know what, but that was a better football team on Saturday. And then Iowa tried to hand it to them on some very uncharacteristic penalties, interception on the first drive, which Iowa State and Iowa both have the problem. Their receivers cannot catch a football. And, in Iowa's case, you can't throw the ball very well anyway. So when you are open and the quarterback puts it on your chest, you better freaking catch it, not let it hit your chest.
Yeah, I thought Gronowski played great. That was
Yeah.
not on him. That was a
No.
perfect pass. Should have been a first down. And
Yep.
next thing you know, we're down. Well, we get him down and stop him actually on
Yep.
4th and 1, but decide. And again, you never see an Iowa defense line up offsides like that. I mean,
Right.
they shot themselves in the foot, and then we have the most conservative coach in America, and all of a sudden he tries a 66-yard field goal, and I mean, he knew it the second it happened. He's like, I mean, he was in tears over how bad of a
Right.
decision he made, and that's just not him. And they were very fortunate to pull that out. I think Gronowski's earning his paycheck. He just keeps getting better and better, and he's really impressing Hawkeye fans right now.
Yeah. He is not the best quarterback that they've had at Iowa in a long time, but he is the best quarterback position player. Just he is showing what they are. He is just a winner and a fighter. I think I heard today where his knee is getting better. People were a little bit worried that it was kind of always going to be a tough go the rest of the season, but he said it is feeling better. Looking forward to the bye week. They got a bye week after this week, right?
Yes, they have a bye week.
Before Oregon. So,
Correct.
and then as we talked about earlier, it's not a guarantee, but for Iowa with only 2 losses, only one loss in conference play, everything is still up and available to you. You beat USC at USC, you beat Oregon. You're all of a sudden second, third, fourth in the Big Ten. You could be playing for a lot more down the road.
Yeah, that's the thing of this. It started off pretty ugly. We went to Iowa State at that first quarter. I thought we were going to get blown out, and then fought kind of back into it, and we've just slowly gotten better. And yeah, as of right now, everything is still on the line. Everything to play for. It's just that this team's just paper thin on what could happen. I mean, I don't think losing to Minnesota is out of the cards. I mean, Minnesota
No.
looked pretty good last week, and if we come out and have those mental mistakes like we did last week, and it's gone right there. So hopefully, if we could, I think if they play the way they normally play on defense, take care of the ball, catch the ball, beat Minnesota, you're setting up one of the bigger games in Kinnick in a long, long time when Oregon comes.
Will you go to that game if they win against Minnesota? Will you go to Oregon?
My nephew's decided he was going to get married on that day, so I am out on that. So, yeah, I got to be at a wedding at 4:00. So if I'm guessing it's going to be, it sounds like they can't play night games, so it's got to be
I,
11 or 2:30, I think. And
I
I
would
don't think
almost
they'll.
guess if Iowa and Oregon are still no more losses between them, I'd have to look at some other games, but that would be a prime candidate for big noon kickoff, I think. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what I
just
think too.
just depend. I don't know who else plays. There might be another big game, so I shouldn't say 100%, but it would definitely be top 2 or 3 games to be considered for it if Iowa and Oregon haven't lost between now and then.
And that's not the time I'd want them to play, but it is what it is. But it'll still be a big game. Oregon's, what's that, 9:00 in the morning time
Yeah,
that they'd normally be playing. So
yeah. I think if I'm Iowa, that's when I want to play it. I know for you personally, you'd like it to be at 7:00 after the wedding, right during the reception. Perfect. Watch a game.
for sure,
Have
but
some drinks and enjoy family and friends. That's a pretty good reception right there.
that's what makes this Minnesota game so big, because if you overlook them one bit, and they beat us a few years ago on
Yep.
the fair catch call. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, everything's still in play, and if they can take care of business, it's going to be a fun 2 weeks. Got to going into a bye, ready for the biggest game of the year, and there'll be a lot of excitement.
Yeah, and then kind of rest of the Big Ten. Ohio State's the best team in the country, and I don't think it's close. And then right now, Indiana's the number 2 team in the country, and I don't think it's close. I think there's a separation between Ohio State and Indiana, but with Miami losing, you could make an argument that maybe the second best team right now in the country is Alabama. They beat like 4 or 5 straight ranked opponents. Vanderbilt looks good. I mean, they beat a really good LSU team. So I mean, I think you're talking the two best teams in the country right now are the Big Ten, and then everybody else kind of falls into place in the Big Ten, and it's going to get sorted out over the next few weeks. And just the last thing on Iowa, November is one of Kirk Ferentz's best months of ever in coaching. I mean, if you look at his record in November, they are really, really good. Kind of like Matt Campbell has been in October in the past. I mean, not so much this year, but it was Brocktober, and like Brock Purdy only lost like one game in October in his 4 years, and it was kind of crazy there.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at I agree with you. Ohio State, I think, is the best team. I think, Indiana's right. There's 3 or 4 SEC teams I think that could play with Indiana and Oregon for sure. I think Ohio State, stays healthy. They're going to be extremely tough to beat. And I don't know if you were in our chat last night, but how in the world are they only favored by 3.5 at home over Penn State in 2 weeks? I don't get that spread one bit.
So they have a bye and then go there, or what?
They both are on bye this week, so they got the spread out for the game already, and it's Ohio State minus 3.5. I don't get it. I mean, I feel like Ohio State could beat them by 25.
Yeah, but that Vegas isn't wrong very often, though.
I know, but that is just one that I don't see how. I mean, that's the same spread of the Iowa game when they came to Iowa City.
And is it at Penn State?
It's at Ohio State.
What?
Yes. Check the line out, folks. I'm telling you. Brett and I were looking at it last night.
Did you throw half a farm on it or what?
I'm thinking about it. I mean, it seems too obvious, and when Vegas does that, they're usually right. But I don't know. It's one of the fishier lines I've ever seen.
Or do they really think that James Franklin was a problem at Penn State?
Yeah, I don't know.
And now you give them a couple weeks to get ready. Obviously Sunday to Saturday, you can't change a lot.
Ohio State. I mean, both teams don't play this week, so they both have 2 weeks to prepare. I don't know, unless Ohio State's got a quarterback injured or something I don't know about. But Penn State's on their second QB, so
yeah.
I don't know. Just something to keep an eye on. See, I mean, I would assume that spread will go up, but I don't know.
And if it doesn't move, that's almost more telling. That means the bets are coming in even.
It is a crazy line to me.
All right, let's go to the Big 12 now. Craziness and essentially shattered. Not 100%, because if somehow BYU would go undefeated and get to the Big 12 championship game, and Texas Tech with the one loss would get there, and Texas Tech beats them by less than a touchdown, I think there would be a decent chance that both teams would get in. But that is your only scenario left for two teams. Now you're down to BYU has to run the table. I think Texas Tech had a little bit of wiggle room as long as they were undefeated in that championship game. But now, obviously, that's gone. But Utah's out. A little surprised that BYU beat them, actually. I thought Utah was pretty good. Houston's good, better than people thought. Arizona State, obviously, beating Texas Tech. Shows how important their quarterback is. That Mississippi State loss is a little weird and fishy, but losing to Utah, not a big deal when they didn't have their quarterback. Iowa State, without playing, their power rankings are, 7, 8, 9, I think, right now, with their last 2 weeks' performance, and with obviously a chance to jump up in the next 2 weeks. Actually, next 3 weeks, they go, BYU, Arizona State, both at home, and then at TCU. So 3 teams are all ahead of them, or TCU's right with them in the rankings. So definitely a chance to get right back up into the top 3 or 4.
Yeah, the Big 12, I don't know enough about it. It just seems like I feel like there's 5 or 6 teams that could beat each other on any given night. Texas Tech looked the part for a while. I mean, they got beat again. They could still obviously win out and win win the Big 12. But I mean, I just, you look at Iowa State, and I wouldn't be afraid of any team if they came to Jack Trice. I think you could beat
Right.
any team in there. There's not like you got Ohio State coming to town that
Nope.
you can't beat right now.
No,
It's just a
BYU's
matter of,
ranked 10th or 11th or 9, 10 or 11. I can't remember. It depends what poll you're looking at. But yeah, no team is scared to come in. And then your hardest road game is at TCU, which isn't easy, but it's not, it's not going to be 100,000 people yelling at you. It's going to be 30,000, 40,000 people. That's just what they get there. And then Kansas again at home. And then you finish at Oklahoma State, which should be a relatively easy win.
that's
Even though it's at Oklahoma State, because you were kind of worried about that going in, that might be Mike Gundy's swan song. Like maybe they've already announced he's fired or resigned, whatever, but they're letting them finish out the year. Well, obviously that didn't happen. So, and they look really, really bad. So,
no, I just say, as a outsider for Iowa State, I think these next 2 weeks are going to be huge for the season. I mean, you go 2-0 and you still have everything to play for. I mean, you're not eliminated, but you lose one, it's going to be awfully, awfully tough to do much more after that.
Yeah, and and this is just what expectations do. You win these next 2 weeks against really good teams, and you're just telling yourself, man, you should be freaking 9-0 and ranked about number 6 in the country. And then you got everything out in front of you, because at Cincinnati and at Colorado, Cincinnati has proven that I think they're better than everybody thought. They're actually undefeated in the conference. Their only loss is that loss opening night on a neutral field-ish against Nebraska at Arrowhead. But they are still undefeated in the conference. They're actually tied with BYU. So I think they're better than people thought. But the Colorado loss is inexcusable. Colorado is not as good a football team as Iowa State, and that was just bad playing.
Yeah, that was one of Rocco's worst games that I've ever seen him play as well. But he'll bounce back. I'm quite confident.
Yeah. And if he's hurt, then they need to sit him. I mean, I don't think he is, but he's had a couple weeks. But I almost wonder if he was a little bit hurt and they just went with him anyway. And that's, you love the kid for gutting it out, everything, but maybe looking back, maybe they should have sat him.
Yeah, but it's hard to tell that when competitor like that. He thinks he's probably at 80% better than what you got,
and I think he probably is. I mean, I'm not arguing. I mean, I agree with that.
It's a slippery slope. I thought, Gronowski comes in at the end of that Indiana game. I think we win that game, and then everything looks different. And you're thinking, well, he played the next game, but I get it. I mean, you can just tell he's a competitor, so. He must have been hurt, because there's no doubt in my mind he comes in, we drive the ball a little bit further and able to get a little better field goal, even though we still should have made it. But it is what it is.
All right. And then, kind of SEC, Vanderbilt might be the real deal. Is Diego Pavia, is he a Heisman winner if they voted right now?
I looked at the odds. He's in there, but it's the Alabama quarterback is Simpson. The favorite right now, and then the Indiana quarterback is second. But it's still wide open.
Yeah.
I mean, Ohio State's quarterback's in there. Ohio State's receivers in there. I don't think anybody's really jumped out and taken the lead right now. I mean, it's going to come down to the second half of the season on who will win that Heisman, in my opinion.
That's a coach that you don't hear a lot about. But he has to be getting looked at by these jobs, don't you think? The Vanderbilt coach?
Oh, for sure. And that is a job I think you leave. I just don't think you could sit in there and win year in and year out. I don't care how good a coach you are.
And people forget James Franklin was there before Penn State, and he was winning not even at the level they are now. They were just going to bowl games, 7-5, 8-4. And then he got the Penn State job, which again, you leave 100 out of 100 times.
For sure. I mean, that's just
now the difference is this guy is an alum. That makes it a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, if he's never going to have the resources and the support that the rest of the SEC has. it's a hard institution, and then just it's an NFL town, and that's just not what the SEC is about. Most of those towns are all, kind of suburbs or out in the little neck of the woods away from the cities. Nashville's right in the heart of Nashville, and the Titans are number one in that town. And it looks to be like, when the NBA and the MLB, if teams move or expand, Nashville is on the short list of all those franchises looking to go there. And that would just put Vanderbilt more and more behind.
Yeah, for sure. It's just not the college. I mean, obviously not a great city, but it's not really the college town vibe. It's country music and professional sports. And what he's doing there is amazing. I think if he wants to, he's going to get a job. I don't know if it would be one of those top two, but
he can
get some look somewhere.
I mean, if you're Arkansas and maybe your number one guy doesn't turn it down, he's one that you look there. Now, obviously right now, Vanderbilt, Vanderbilt's better than Arkansas, but in the big scheme of things, they're not.
For sure.
And Arkansas has a better job than Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And then, or you go to, Lane Kiffin leaves and Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss, now you're right by, you're not even moving very far now if you get just to northern Mississippi there. So,
yeah, I think Lane Kiffin's the one to keep an eye on, because if he moves, that's going to really get the carousel moving, in my opinion. But I just don't think he's going to leave. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's now. There is one thing, and I know you listen to Travis and Ross on the Rush, but Travis talks about it because his daughter works there. They cannot have a contract longer than 5 years. Now, I don't know what the money situation is, but they can't have a contract. Now, it's an automatic rollover, but that's just the state law. So it's a little quirk there in Mississippi.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, he's talked about that, like with his daughter and Kiffin, and it's just essentially a rollover 5-year contract. Now, I'm sure his daughter doesn't have a 5-year contract working for, I think she's like housing marketing director or something, but I'm sure he does. But still, you can't sign the 8-year, $100 million deal or whatever. It's just not an option there. So, but anything, let's go, we can go a little bit longer here. Let's talk college football or high school football. Smaller schools, A, 1A, 2A. I think those are the three that are done that are starting the playoffs this week. Is that correct? Or is 3A involved as well?
I think it's just A, 1A, 2A, I believe, this week.
Right. And this one, there's not RPIs or anything. It is straight up 1, 2, 3, 4 in your district make the playoffs. And then the 1 plays the 4 from a different district, correct? And then 2 and 3.
Yep.
Eddyville has their hands full.
Yeah, they do.
Eddyville is going to 3-time defending state champ and probably has the best athlete in the state at quarterback, Grundy Center. Grundy Center is going to name that score. And that is, I was a part of this when I was at Ottumwa when they did this. And the problem with that was they, there's only 48 teams and 32 of them made the playoffs when they did that. And we went up to Hawkeyes and got beat like 65-0. But they just, there's some, what's unfortunately has happened is all districts are not created equal. So you can't do like first and second, because sometimes that third team in the district is still really good. Now you can make an argument that the fourth, maybe not so much, but it does give every kid a chance, more kids a chance. And I guess that's what they're trying to do. But there's going to be a lot of blowouts this Friday night in small schools because the best teams are playing the not as good teams.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to, it is a playoff game, but like you said, those 1 seeds they're going to come in and they're going to hammer you fast and get their starters out of there, and you're going to see a lot of 40, 50 plus scores at halftime, in my opinion, with those 1 and 4 seeds. They want to get it over with, get their starters out, and get ready for the, round 2, where it starts to get a little more difficult.
Yeah, because I mean, I didn't realize this, but Albia played Pella Christian, a 3-win team and a 2-win team. Maybe even Pella Christian might even be a 1-win team, but whoever won that game went to the playoffs. And that was crazy. I mean, and Pella Christian obviously put it to them.
I mean, there's there's talk like why we let some of these teams in. I mean, I get it, but it's where we're at, and you'll see a couple 4 seeds. I think Pekin's gonna, they got a tough draw with Earlham as a 4 seed. Earlham was thrown into a very difficult district, and
right, and that's the argument is
Pekin won theirs. I mean, I think Pekin will win. I hope Pekin wins, but Earlham, I think Earlham gave Linville-Sully a game. North Mahaska, they laid the hammer to North Mahaska, and I think Pekin and North Mahaska went into overtime. So that kind of tells you where you're dealing there with that. That's a 1-4 matchup to keep an eye on in Class A.
Yeah, and we want Pekin to win that one. Clint, you know him real well. I don't know him super well, but I know who he is.
He's a great guy. He'll have him ready, but they got a tough draw for a 1 seed, that's for sure.
Yeah, and then that's the argument. Unfortunately, here in Southeast Iowa, and we've talked about this for years, there's just not good football down here. I mean, Sigourney Keota, what did their record end up being this year? I don't even know.
4-4, but we lost all four of our losses are to ranked teams, and
right.
Regina is number 2 in 1A, and then 3 of the top 10 2A teams. So, our non-district was very tough, and you had PCM, Wilton, Mid-Prairie. I think PCM, Mid-Prairie are 2 and 3 in the state. So,
yeah.
And then we got to district, and it was, we kind of blew everybody out but Regina, and they kind of blew us out. Regina's very good.
Regina might be back.
They'll be right there. I don't know. Grundy, the 1A field's just stacked because you got Grundy, you got Regina, you got South Hardin. West Lyon, probably the favorite in my opinion. They dropped down, and then I think Trainer's really good too. They may have dropped to 1A as well.
Yeah, that's crazy. Is West Lyon won last year in 2A, correct, and then dropped down to 1A?
Yeah,
So that's when your defending champ drops down and didn't lose everybody, and West Lyon's just a factory up there. Their bad years are 7-2, or now 6-2, I guess would be now, but.
Yeah, it's 1A is a really, really, really difficult district or class. I mean, the semis will be some really good football up there.
Yeah, so Sigourney plays I-35. Should you win that? I mean, I haven't even looked at the BC Moore spread or anything. Is it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's really tight on BC Moore. I mean, they do have a win over Pleasantville, but the Pleasantville's stud player was out because he was injured. So obviously they don't take that injuries into account, but he's one of the better players in the state. So when he's not playing, that made that game a whole lot different. So I think Sigourney, Keota can take, I think if they take care of the ball, don't turn the ball over and play good defense, I think they got a really good shot at home.
Yeah. And then is it already guaranteed who they go to next, like the winner of this game?
Or no, they won't release that until after this. So odds are we're probably going on the road, but if there is a 4 that upsets a 1, then that will shake things up. Some 2 seed's going to have to host if a 4 wins. I mean, I don't know who that would be. I don't know the state well enough, but it's highly likely we're probably going on the road to some 1 seed. If it's Grundy, Regina, West Marshall, I would say one of those 3 for sure.
Yeah. And then, you go 3A, 4A, and 5A. They're playing their last regular season where they still do, 1 or 2 seeds, I think, get in. And then they have an RPI system that picks their at-large teams. Just in the area here, Pella's really good. Newton's really, really good. I was super impressed with Pella's win over Clear Creek Amana and their score. It wasn't so much that they won, but then everything I've read and everything is Xavier might be just head and shoulders above everybody else in 4A this year.
Yeah, 4A is again another loaded class, but like you said, Xavier's just really good. I mean, I'd like to see Newton make a run, but I don't know how far they could get. I'm gonna guess they'll run into Pella again, probably.
Yeah, Pella
wants go to the Dome.
Pella wants to play them again. They beat Pella, but Pella shot themselves in the foot a few times there, and Newton made them pay. So I mean, Newton
Yeah.
earned it.
And that would
But
be a great rematch. And I would assume it would be in Newton. When you're probably looking
yeah,
at 5,000 people at that game, that would be a fun one to
yeah,
go
because
to.
Newton won the district, and then Pella actually got second. So yeah,
But yeah, outside of Regina, I think it would be or outside of Xavier, sorry, it would be wide open. But maybe take an upset of Xavier, and then I think that would open the door open for a lot of teams that could potentially get in
then
there
you're.
and win it.
I mean, I think about the next 4 teams, and then you could kind of draw whatever order you want is Pella, Newton, North Polk, and ADM. I mean, those 4
I think
schools.
Decorah is decent too, but they
Is,
got just pummeled by Xavier, so it kind of puts an end to that argument a little bit, I guess.
yeah. And see, and Decorah is always, they're always good up there. They just don't have, obviously they're a long ways from here, so we just don't hear about them. And then they just don't. It seems to be like unless they get one of those D1 guys when Josie Jewell was there, they just can't make the way all the way there. Well, one, they run into Xavier because Xavier's there every year, and there's just somebody up there that's just as good, if not better, that's had a different schedule, should say, and they get by there.
Yeah, Decorah's solid. I mean, they've probably been to the Dome 20 plus times.
Oh
but
yeah, I mean,
it's just hard for them to get it done. I'm sure they do have a state title. I don't know that enough about them, but I know they've been to the Dome quite a bit. But it's like you said, and then now that Xavier's become a power, it's just tough to get real far away from them because that's going to be one of the 4As they're going to draw somewhere.
And then I think we were talking about this. Then you get like a Dubuque Wahlert that keeps dropping 3A, 2A, whatever they are. That would have been a natural rival with Decorah and Dubuque Wahlert, forever and ever.
Well, Wacon's good, but I don't think they're big enough to be 4A. They're probably 2A or 3A is my guess.
Yeah, and football's just a little different because there's the extra class. There's 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A, and A. So there's actually 2 extra classes than like basketball. So, like you think of a 1A school, like, Derek Casey, Guthrie Center, they're A football, which is crazy because I was A football when I played. And now they added a whole nother town and they're still just A football.
Yeah. It's just, if you're not living around the suburbs, it's hard to grow in these communities.
Yeah. So, and Zach, more than welcome. Invite you. You got the invite right now to come back next week when we get all the playoff teams in, and we'll be 1 weekend where we can talk a little bit more about high school football, and we'll recap, Iowa State and Iowa with both big home games. Super important. Obviously Iowa State, they have to win to keep their hopes alive. Iowa needs to win to set up, what could be and one of the biggest games in Kinnick in a long, long time.
Yeah, I'm sure I can do that. I don't have much going on here for the next month, and then basketball starts up.
Yeah,
so.
That's what I was looking. I was just looking at my calendar today, and basketball's, practice kind of starts for our kids, and coming up here this week and next week. But once December hits, I'm going to be sitting in a gym or refereeing a game 3 or 4 times a week, and then actually about 4 or 5 times a week if you count the weekends. So, but that's what I love to do, and be around sports and be around kids and seeing them succeed and fight through difficult times. And that's what sports does for people.
Yep, that's for sure.
All right. Thanks a lot, Zach. And we'll talk to you later. And everybody that tunes in, thanks a lot. Steve Shetler putting us out there. And I know Steve does a lot of things there in Sigourney, right? To help out the schools and promote everything. And we'll talk to you later, Zach.
All right. Thank you.